Hey everyone, I got another daily design for you. So this one is going to be a style prototype of the Figma Store. So I'm just going to walk you through real quick what the style prototype is. This is when you're coming up with a brand and you're trying to, collaborate with a client a little bit and try to figure out exactly what they like and what they want. And so style prototype is just a nice way to get like a general look and feel of a brand, specifically a digital brand, before you go into further development. So I ran into this the other day and I thought it was a really cool way for me to start scaling up really quickly on thinking about brand style and brand design, because I figure if I'm building a mobile app or any other kind of product and I can get a style prototype out to a point where I'm happy, then I feel like it'll make the rest of the work pretty easy. So I started with some copy work, and copy work is when you take an existing design that somebody's already done and you try to understand it by copying it. So this is the Figma Store. I decided to start here because they're a really strong digital brand with really interesting design. And what I essentially did is I tried to figure out what fonts they use and what the general style guidelines would be if they were in a style prototype. So this is what I came up with. Now, what I was able to do is, this is actually all individual components. So it's not all copy paste. These are individual components. The type here is individual. These chips are individual. And then I created these individually as well. So I was able to actually understand a good portion of it. The parts that are copy pasted is this gift card screenshot is copy pasted. And then this interior screenshot is copy pasted. But one thing I want to bring to your attention, which I thought was really interesting, is that Figma's, I'm going to call it, I don't know if it's hero text or like their headline, I'll call it headline. So their major headline is actually this really interesting font called White Ink Trap. And I'm going to show you what that is. It comes from this typesetter called this digital typesetter called Dynamo Typefaces. And the White Ink Trap is, I don't know why I just jumped like that. Let me start over here. Yes, the White Ink Trap has these things called ink traps in them. Now, this doesn't really make much sense in a digital context, but what they're actually for is when they were originally printing these on paper, like if it was really cheap paper, a good example would be old phone books. The actual printing press would hold too much ink in the corners, and then when it's stamped, the interior corners would bleed and they would look really bad. So that's what ink trap fonts are for. I'd never heard of these until I started doing the copy work on the Figma Store brand. And so I was really grateful to be able to learn about this. Also learn about this typesetter, which looks like they have some really great products. Some examples are here. I'll just show you through real quick. Oracle is really clean. It's a really clean sans serif. Social to me looks like a sans serif that's a little more normal. We have some display fonts. Marfa is pretty classy. I've seen this previously, but I didn't realize that it was from this particular typesetter. Jinto rounded. That looks a lot like the SF rounded typeface to me. That could be a really interesting, pleasant font for like a cross-platform mobile app. Although I will say that Apple has pretty much grabbed that typeface style when it comes to mobile. Another really interesting kind of ink trappy font. It's got some weird flourishes here that are not ink trap, but it's almost like ink trap plus some flourishes. Anyway, this is a really cool place to get some really interesting fonts. And yeah, tell me what you think. If you have any suggestions for another brand to do a style prototype on, just let me know, because I just need to go through the paces of trying to understand this stuff so I can get up to speed on creating my own. Thank you very much.